Friday, 7 p.m. I'm having a coffee because I gotta go to the airport later. And it is day 19 of my 75 hard journey. Day 19 means that things are getting more and more habitual, but it also means that I've had the first couple of days of legitimate struggle, legitimate fighting my inner demons, fighting this inner voice that wants me to not go train. And it happened on 2 days this week. First day, I had a lot of unexpected stuff come up at work. And because of that, I wrapped up work so late that my gym was closed. And I already knew this was gonna happen throughout the afternoon. I could see it coming. So I started having this internal dialogue, this voice, the inner tempter that as I always call it, right? That came up and is like finding all of these rational reasons why I will not be able to train today and I shouldn't do it. And I'm not going to be able to do it for 75 days, do 2 workout sessions a day. It's just not going to work. And that voice was making a few very rational arguments. It was telling me that, well, it's going to be hard if I want to prioritize work to also do these 2 sessions a day. It's going to be the easiest time now to back out now while I've only been doing it for about 2 weeks. When is there going to be a better time? I have rational arguments to give up. I can save face. I can just say, oh, I had too much work and it's just not compatible with my current goals. So my inner tempting voice was giving me all of these dialogues. But we're no quitters, right? I'm not a quitter. So I made this plan. And of course, when I made this plan, I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that there would be a day where I wouldn't feel like it, where other things would come up that seemed more important in that moment and that maybe actually are more important. So knowing that this would happen, I was able to plan for it, because the reality is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is a very obvious thing. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The thing is that it's very difficult to plan for unexpected things. It's difficult to plan for these things that we don't see coming, for the things that happen, somebody calling you, something at work coming up. How the hell are you going to plan for it if you don't know it's going to happen? But that's exactly the thing. The thing is that precisely we know these things are going to happen. We know that something unexpected is going to happen. So we might not be aware of when it's going to happen. We might not know the exact day and the exact time, but we always know. I always take notes about this. I always write down what am I going to do if something comes up. So I might not always be able to plan and anticipate what exactly is going to happen, but I am able to predict that something is going to happen. And that's something I can actually plan for, because if I know that something comes up, I can have a fallback plan. I can be prepared for the moment when that thing comes up, whatever it is, hoping that nothing comes up, hoping that everything goes to plan, but planning for the situation where it doesn't go according to plan. Planning for the case that I did not expect, right? Planning for when I run out of time, planning for when the gym is closed, planning for when a friend or family member needs something urgent and I need to help them. That is the key to consistency. That's the magic. I truly believe that is how I've been able to be so consistent. And I learned this partially from a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that I read when I was around 20. But there was also a guy that I hung out with in my mid-20s when I was just finishing uni, who was probably the guy with the highest level of integrity I've ever seen and the highest level of consistency. And this guy, I had never in my entire time being with him seen him not do something that he said he was going to do. I've never seen him fall out of his routine because he planned for everything and he planned for every little inconvenience. And if you just keep in mind that something's going to come up, you have a fallback plan for exactly that scenario, then you know what to do. You're not left at the mercy of these external circumstances. You're not left at the mercy of something unplanned, because you have a fallback plan. Now, what is that fallback plan? In my case, and I've talked about this in my recent videos as well, because it's really something in my whole journey, the thing that's made me consistent, literally the one thing that allowed me to be consistent over years, all the way from my early 20s until now, the one thing is that I had these fallback plans. So what did I do? My main plan is going to the gym in the morning, lifting weights, and going to the gym in the evening, doing cardio. The sessions have to be at least 45 minutes. That's what I committed to. But on a day where I cannot do a 45-minute cardio session in the evening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a 1-hour walk. So instead of a 45-minute workout, I'm going to do a 1-hour walk, which is not as good for me, at least for me, is not as good as going to do a proper cardio session. It's not as good as doing a kickboxing session, but it's a lot better than not training at all. It's a lot better than falling off. Last year, I did something similar. Last year, I prepared for a kickboxing fight, and during that time, I committed to train 6 days a week, 2 times per day. Now, there were a few days where I just couldn't make it to the kickboxing gym in the evening. And what I did on these days, and that was my fallback plan, was a 20 to 25-minute home workout session. On days where I couldn't make the 20 to 25-minute home workout session because I would come back home too late, even then, I had a fallback plan. For those days, I made the commitment to do a 12-minute hip mobility routine, something I can do even on days where I come back so late that I don't want to get my heart rate up because I gotta go to bed. On those days, I would do a 12-minute hip workout. And you could even say that your fallback is doing 10 push-ups, whatever it is. But what the goal with this should be is training your mind to do what you set out to do, to stick to the plan, to stay with your commitment. Because having the ability to do what you said you're going to do, whether you feel like it or not, and planning for the eventualities that come up, this is what sets you apart. This is literally the tiny change in mentality. Now I want to touch on a separate point. Once you get really good at doing what you set out to do, whether you feel like it or not, once you get very good at being disciplined, because that's essentially what it is, right? Your ability to execute on what you planned, whether you feel like it or not, following the plan and having a fallback plan. Once you get good at this, there is a big danger. I say big danger, but it's literally a big risk, because there is this risk that you fall in the trap of getting a lot of satisfaction for being able to get yourself to do these things, for being able to put yourself through things that other people cannot do. So you always have to ask yourself whether these things actually move you forward. Are these things helping you progress in the direction you're trying to get to, or are they just making you feel good because you did the thing, irrespective of whether that thing is moving you forward? So if that is the case, that essentially means that you get a lot of satisfaction from being busy, and getting a lot of satisfaction from being busy is not going to help you move forward in the big scheme of things. What you want to get good at is make a difference between just being busy and having actual forward motion towards the big picture goal. And I made that mistake for a long time. For a long time, I was just very, very good at doing the things that I didn't want to do, the things that I had to do, not really questioning whether these things would actually help me progress in the big scheme of things, whether these things would actually help me get to the final picture that I'm working towards. It's so interesting because these topics are topics that I've talked about in my first YouTube channel in 2013, that I still talk about to this day. And still, sometimes I feel like I have these new insights, like just this insight that I gained recently, that it's so easy to get lost in being busy and getting a lot of satisfaction and like a positive dopamine flow. But this positive dopamine flow is a lie. It's a lie if it doesn't help you progress in the right direction. It's nothing else than somebody who's a drug addict. You're getting your dopamine kick. It might feel okay because you're being busy and that is what society rewards you for. But if you are not progressing towards something bigger, then that positive dopamine feedback loop that you're getting from being busy is a complete waste. There's no point to it. It's literally the same thing as a drug addict that's just doing drugs. It's you feeding your brain dopamine. That's not helping you progress. And it's literally equally as bad as doing Molly, or I don't even know what other drugs, like just equally as bad for you as doing drugs. And I'll leave you on that note. Stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.